Kia ora, and welcome, Jason. It's great to have you here.
Kia ora.
1 year on since we last talked. Yeah. Before we get into the serious stuff, let's just start with the Warriors, shall we? Shall we get that out of the way? Yeah, I know you're going to say it's their year.
This is the Vodafone Warriors year. Woo! Like, what a comeback. Best ever. Look, in all seriousness, I think I'd love us to get in the top 8. Top 4 would be huge. And I think the squad that the team is building, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's exit next year aside, because he is just an incredible leader, means I think, the next couple of years we'll be gunning for a title.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you have that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, look, thanks for joining us today. It is actually almost exactly a year since we started talking right at the very beginning of the level 4 lockdown last year, which was, so it was pretty timely that we got back together and we relaunched techbytes. So how do you think you've coped with the past 12 months? And what about the organisation as well?
Well, I think the organisation's coped brilliantly. I'm not sure I have. I think I got better throughout the year, like a good wine. The first lockdown, I don't think anyone knew how to navigate through something like this because we'd never faced anything like that before. And so I probably got a little bit wrong where, it was relentless. I felt like I had to be across everything, worked long hours, didn't exercise, didn't spend as much time with my family. We did a really good job of putting customers and my team first, but I forgot about my family and I forgot about myself. And so that wasn't great. And then, to be honest, it was the day of coming out of level 4 lockdown that I reflected that I might have got it a little bit wrong. And all these hours I was working, did it make the boat go faster or did it make the boat go slower? And so I've done a much better job personally over the next 9 months of playing a more productive role and helping the organisation lead through it, helping my team lead through it, helping our customers. But look, I know just from Vodafone's perspective, Craig, I think the industry did a tremendous job. Vodafone, 2 Degrees, Spark, Vocus, Chorus, Enable, UFF. I think we're one of the few industries to come together without being asked and make commitments to New Zealand up front about, free upgrades to unlimited, trying to give rural communities more data, saying we weren't going to disconnect anyone for late payments, not charge any late payment fees, all of those things when connectivity became essential for work, for running your business, but also for learning and working from home. I'm really proud of how we've come through it, and I think another good example of the telecommunications industry being a pretty positive and important part of Aotearoa.
Yeah, cool. Hey, look, I'll just expand on that a little bit, because one of the things I've found travelling around is, if you live and work in Auckland, you've been through a number of level 3 lockdowns as well, but the rest of the country hasn't. Have you felt that tension a little bit inside your organisation, or has it been pretty clear?
No, it's been pretty clear. No, we haven't found a tension based on Auckland going into lockdown or not. If you think, all different parts of New Zealand face different crises at different points in time. So Auckland went into lockdown. The Christchurch had that awful massacre. So unfortunately, different parts of the country, and because we're a national organisation with team members right across the country, get impacted. So we're pretty resilient and we support each other. It wasn't a big issue for us.
Yeah, cool. Hey, look, I think you started on this, but because you talked about it in the first conversation, the first bit of the conversation, but is there anything else that you changed as a leader as a result of your experience in the last 12 months?
Yeah, probably a couple of things. One, we're trying to, and it's not always, I'm trying to get decision-making closer to the customer and closer to where it needs to be within the organisation. Historically, corporates, and especially in times of uncertainty, have battened down the hatches and tried to become more hierarchical. I think actually what this has shown me is you need to be less hierarchical and you need to force decision making closer to where the action is, where the customers are. We've embraced a framework from Amazon called 2-way or 1-way door decision making. And what it basically means is most decisions that you make in the business every day are two-way doors. If you get it wrong, you can quickly pivot or change. Very few are one way, where they are fundamental commitments for the next 5 or 10 years. And because of that, I think it's allowed us to not sweat decisions as much, not have to be able to empower our people to make some calls, to take some risks, to have a crack. And so as a leader, trying to empower the organisation more has been really important. And then the other part of being a leader is, just underline communication and how important it is. Technology is awesome, but just you can't beat people. You can't beat having conversations. You can't beat being visible. And if you think you've said it enough, you need to triple it and say it 3 more times. Consistency of communication is one of those key things in times of crisis that often gets forgotten, but is probably one of the most important elements as a leader.
Yeah, true. Hey, look, just to pick up on that technology side of things, a lot of conversations I'm hearing, and I've been talking to quite a few CIOs in the last couple of months, is that there's a big chunk of them that felt rushed last year in terms of implementing technology to cope with the environment. I don't know how Vodafone went. You might want to talk about that. And this year they just sort of want to take a breath. I mean, are you feeling that and sort of wanting things to stop for a little while?
My team would say yes, and that I'm relentless. I'm just like, I feel so privileged to be in this organisation at this time. I have massive ambition. We have massive ambition, and I'm sure the team would like to take a break, but I'm going, come on, guys, this is our opportunity to do even more, more impressive, great things for New Zealanders. Like, you definitely need to have a break every now and then, but I think you can sequence those pauses across parts of your organisation, so momentum continues. Your whole organisation doesn't need to take a break, just some parts of the business need to take a break periodically. But I think if you get the combination right, you can keep the level of ambition. Look, I heard we've got a lot of banks that we work with, and one of the banks that we work with before COVID hit, so this would have been 12 months ago, February last year, they were looking at implementing Microsoft Teams in their organisation, and they had a proposal from I think the technology team that it was a 2-year program. It's going to cost millions of dollars to do it, and then COVID hit and they did it in 10 days.
Yeah,
that's incredible, right? Something that we previously thought would take a couple of years to roll out and implement into an organisation is now a technology that was embraced and now being used within 10 days within a bank, which are not massively known for risk-taking and fast-paced. So I thought that was super impressive. So for me, no way. I don't want to take a breath. I think this is a massive opportunity for this country. I think we can become a digital leader in the world with the position that we're in, and I just wouldn't want to miss that opportunity.
Were you one of those, was Vodafone one of those ones as well, that Teams suddenly became so important that you had to roll it out quicker? But you were reasonably mobile anyway, weren't you?
Yeah, no, we actually the thing for us was consolidating. We had Zoom, Teams, WebEx, and we chose Teams because it's the product that we partner with Microsoft to sell. It's the one that we sell to our customers, and we know really well. And so that's the one that we've prioritised as our video conference of choice. But we use WebEx and Zoom as we need to at the same time. But you're right, Craig. We were already a very flexible working organisation. Before I started a couple of years ago, we were very modern in terms of that position. So when COVID hit, we were able to adapt really, really quickly, and it wasn't too different for us in terms of ways of working, to be honest.
Yeah. You talked about partnering with Microsoft. There was an announcement by another telco. Well, we won't call them a telco anymore, really. That a third of their revenue was coming from managed services, which is the cloud productive space. Are you seeing that yourselves as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we see it as a massive opportunity. So the role that we can play within Aotearoa is growing beyond core connectivity. We are late to the party in a couple of areas, but it creates a huge strategic opportunity for us. So, for example, cloud. would be an area where other players in the industry have made acquisitions which I would view now as legacy and old school technology. So if you're in a private cloud environment or on premise, you are behind the times. You need to move to a public or hybrid cloud solution. And because we didn't place any bets 7 years ago, it creates a huge opportunity for us to disrupt and grow really quickly with people like Amazon, Microsoft, Google. One of our owners is Infratil. They are a majority shareholder in CDC, which is Australasia's leading cloud provider. So I'm really excited about our expansion into cloud security, contact center, IoT as well, Craig. But because we haven't got a legacy technology burden, we think that's even more exciting. And I'd say it's one of the things I've said to a lot of businesses over COVID, actually. The technology transformation, the first thing I say to them is, don't worry about the technology itself, just focus on what you want the technology to deliver for you. So don't get caught up in ADSL, VDSL, fiber 50, 100, hyperfiber, 4G, 5G, just talk about resilience, security, speed, like what do you want? So that's one. And then the other thing is, don't feel that because you have a legacy technology stack, or that you haven't modernized as fast as your competitors, that you are now behind the times. You actually now have a competitive advantage. Because technology has changed so much over the last 5 or 7 years, if you haven't placed a bet, you haven't wedded yourself to legacy old world technology, and you actually have a huge opportunity to take an our lower cost, cloud enabled, off the shelf, pre-customized technology solution for your business, whether you've got 10,000 employees or you've got 5. So huge opportunity, I think, that COVID and this technology wave has created for businesses.
Yeah, you mentioned CDC. They in this, halfway through last year, they made an announcement they were going to build a data center here in New Zealand. So that's a positive. It would be remiss of me not to ask you about your 5G plans, and a little bit, just as I've watched where you've made announcements, you do seem to be quite interested in regional play as well with 5G.
Yeah, well, we were really proud. Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, and Queenstown for 5G. We still maintain clear 5G leadership in New Zealand, which is great. And now we're not just continuing to roll out 5G in those main cities. We also see there's an opportunity to roll it out in regions. The regions we've chosen where we think we have the biggest commercial opportunity, either from a consumer or from a business perspective. So Manawatu, Bay of Plenty are the areas that we've identified first. As a good Southland boy, I'm trying to convince my network team that should be high up the list.
I was going to ask you about that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll see us roll that out really, really quickly. Again, the beauty of being owned by Infratil and Brookfield is that we are not capital constrained. We were, as we had that ownership uncertainty for 5 or 7 years. We didn't have the ability to do what the team wanted to. Now, we're putting our foot down on 5G. We know it's 10 times faster than 4G, and we know when you provide businesses and developers a platform which is, lower latency, higher speeds, has greater feature sets like dedicated, secure networks. When you combine it with fiber, when you combine it with IoT applications that can transform lives and businesses, we're committed to it, and it's exciting. It is exciting.
Okay, so we've talked about that cloud space. We've talked about 5G. What else is next for Vodafone? I mean, what other things are you thinking that you'll be bringing in the next few years? We'll talk specifically about Vodafone first. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think we're kind of breaking our strategy into a couple of phases. So clearly we want to play a greater role within New Zealand businesses' lives and New Zealanders' lives. But to do that, Craig, you've got to earn the right. And no one is going to trust you to automate or digitize their business or track their pets or automate their home if last month's broadband bill was wrong and the plan change didn't happen and it's taking me half an hour to get through to someone on a call center and then I can't understand what they're saying and the change, all that stuff. So phase one for us is getting our backyard in order, and our backyard in order means turning up brilliantly from a customer service perspective. And so we're making a series of investments, onshoring all of our business call centers, onshoring the majority of our consumer call centers, digitizing, automating, simplifying the business to remove all of those pain points that our customers have experienced at times. So I'm really proud that we've got our best ever customer service that we've had since records began at Vodafone, but that's at parity with everyone else in the market, and we want to be a market leader. So that's phase one. And then our view is, if we can be the best telco in New Zealand, that gives us the opportunity to play a greater role as a digital services aggregator and curator. All the product innovation, I think, will come from overseas. I don't believe, unlike others in the market, that you can develop products from within. I think they'll come from the Netflix of this world, from the Amazon of this world, from the Microsoft of this world, from the Spotifys of this world, building your own products. Therefore, you need to be a great partner for those over-the-top product innovators, and then you need to curate and aggregate those. So I think we'll become a digital services curator and aggregator over the next 2 or 3 years, based on being the best telco first. That's my view.
Okay. Yeah, good. Well, let's expand that out a little bit further. I mean, you are obviously the CEO of one of the biggest companies in New Zealand. You've got a leadership position. What about Aotearoa? What are the big things that we should be doing and getting involved with? And I suppose it comes back to, if I'm going to be selfish, is, 2Ans wants New Zealand to be in the top 10 countries for digital readiness by 2030. So what should we be doing to get there?
I think you have to start at your base level of infrastructure. And I've been saying to government that lots of government's policy on infrastructure has been bricks and mortar, which I think is old school infrastructure thinking, and it hasn't been about digital infrastructure. I'd give a big tick on fibre, and I think that's been a fantastic initiative and an investment. But we need to do the same thing on 5G. You're seeing mobile operators all around the world and in this country ready to invest to accelerate 5G infrastructure and get that connectivity into communities that need it the most faster than they otherwise would have been able to. So I think that's a really important point. And then the other part of, once you build that infrastructure, how do you make sure that it's accessible to those that need it? And I am really genuinely worried about the digital divide increasing in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We need to, we've got a Vodafone Foundation. We invest $2 million a year in halving the number of disadvantaged youth in New Zealand. And one of the key pillars of that is digital equity. So making sure that people don't have to choose between bread and broadband, and that when they have that connectivity, they have a device that can connect to it, and that they are confident in being able to use that device to its fullest potential. So in 10 years' time, the digital transformation hasn't passed them, and they're not being left behind when it comes to employment, when it comes to being able to compete in a digital world. So I talk a lot about 100% digital Aotearoa. I think it comes through the theme of a foundation of infrastructure, making that infrastructure accessible, and then giving New Zealanders, especially those that are most disadvantaged, the confidence and the capability to connect it and to use it. And I think that's our big why, to be honest, Craig, and why I get excited coming into work every day, is what a privileged position I have got to be in a role like this with this company. And one of the things I definitely want to leave Vodafone knowing is that we've set Rangatahi up, the next generation of New Zealand, for digital success. Sorry, that was I'll get off my soapbox now. No. You hit a passion point.
No, I mean, it's one of ours as well, that inclusivity and ensuring the diversity in the way we do things, and not leaving anyone behind. We're not going to get to being in the top 10 countries in the world if we don't do things like that. Look, is there anything else you'd like to
agree.
finish up with, speaking to the people who are going to watch this or listen to this later?
No, I just think you should be really proud. I think what a great job we have done collectively as a nation to navigate through this. I think we've supported each other tremendously well. Sure, we could have got some things right, but we often we're too harsh on ourselves and focus on the 25% that we got wrong versus the 75% we've got right. And what a massive opportunity we've got as a nation moving forward. Let's not waste it.
Yeah. Look, thanks so much, Jason, for spending your time with us. And to those of you that are listening in as well, for next week, we're talking to Gerd Lenhardt, who's a futurist based in Zurich.
Oh, wow.
And we've already given him a heads up on some of the questions around, how he thinks technology is going to impact humanity, but also what we should be doing in New Zealand. So that should be a good event as well. So he's following on from Jason. So thank you, Jason, for your time again. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you again, if not in 1 year's time.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, mā te wā.